Hello everyone, today we're learning Bobekama Daf Ayin Aleph. Okay, so we're going to start 2 lines down. Gona v'tovach b'yom Kippurim. It's in the Mishnah, if someone stole and then he slaughtered on Yom Kippur, he still has to pay Dalet V'hei. Ask the Gemara, Amri, we say, Amai, why is it so? Nehide Ktololeka, very good on Yom Kippur. Verschächting, you know, chayev skila or misa b'dei besdin, malchus mi'ika, you get malchus for being mechal Yom Kippur, v'kaimelon, and we know de'enu loiku meshalem, that like we say, komne dirabne, they don't get killed and pay, you also don't get malchus and pay. So the Gemara teretz, Amri homoni ramehi, our misha the ramehi, doma loiku meshalem. Meir argues, and he says you do get malchus and pay. You don't say komne dirabne on malchus, only on misa. Ask the Gemara, Ramea, if it's Ramea filu tovach b'Shabbos, even if he, why did it say in the Mishnah about Shabbos? Only if he sold on Shabbos he has to pay dalet v'hei, but if he was toiveach on Shabbos he has l'chura is mashma you'll be potter because of komne dirabne. If the Ramea doesn't hold of komne dirabne. If you want to tell me loiko mishalem isle, he doesn't hold that you. He holds loiko mishalem isle. If you get malchus and you need to pay still. You don't say it patters you for a moment. Meis mishalem, but if you get killed, then Leslie you don't pay. Then you don't pay. That means he holds that komne dirabne is only said by misa but not by malchus. Veloy, they're not so. We'll see later on. We ask the cash and then teretz, but and they really that's the maskana that our mishnahs are Ramea, and Ramea holds loiku mishalem you do, but meisu mishalem you don't. But now the Gemara is not holding there, yeah? And the Gemara is saying veloy, they're not. It doesn't. Does he hold of komne dirabne? Vatanya. We learned Gona v'tovach b'Shabbos, someone who stole and slaughtered on Shabbos where he's chayav misa. Gona v'tovach lavet zora, there is chayav misa for slaughtering animal for idolatry. Gonav shura niskal, someone who stole a shura that's meant to be killed because it killed a person, and it's also ba'ano now. V'tovchoy and he slaughtered it. Mishalem abba v'chamisha divrei Rameh, he pays dalet v'hei. Divrei Rameh, we're going to see later on the base why shura niskal, that's also ba'ano. L'chora didn't steal anything. It's not even the person that's also ba'ano. We're going to see about that. Divrei Rameh. The Chacham Poitrim. Chacham say you potter. So we could see that clearly the Rameh holds that even though that there's a chiv misa, you still need to pay. So if our Mishnah is Rameh, why did it say gonav umocha b'Shabbos yichayev? Even gonav v'tovach b'Shabbos you should be chayev because you don't have a komne dirabne. Amri, the Gemara answers, bar mino that me'ahi. Leave that alone. That's not shaila from there. Why? We learned on that. Omar Rav Yaakov, Omar Rabbi Yochanan. Rav Yaakov said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Some people say Omar Rav Irmiyah. Rav Irmiyah said Omar Rav Irmiyah. Omar Shimon Lakish. Rav Irmiyah in the name of Shimon Lakish. Rav Abin and Rav Eloi v'chol Chavrusa and the whole Chabura Mishmei Rabbi Yochanan. They all said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Amri, that this Bryce is talking about b'toiveach alidei acha, like he did the tvicha with a shliach. He stole it and then he sent his shliach to do the shechting, and therefore there's no komne dirabne because he wasn't mechal Shabbos. He wasn't chayev avodah zarah. That's why we don't say komne dirabne. But if he himself would do it, even Rab Meir would be moida that you'll be chayev. And then soon we're going to see if so, why is Chacham say you potter l'chura if it's alidei shliach? V'chi, for asking more cash on this, v'chi ze choyte v'ze mischayev l'chura, we know a din in kol ha'torah kula, ein shliach l'dvar avera. So how could you tell me that he sent a shliach to slaughter for him and he'll be chayev, dalet v'hei? Omarova, shiny hacha, there's a special din over here by tvicha that you could do a shliach. The Omar Kro, it says in the pasuk, v'tovchoy, and he slaughtered it. Oy, machroy, oh, he sold it. So we compare the two. Ma mechir alidei acher, like when you sell it, the only way you could sell an item is to someone else. Af tvicha alidei acher, Also, tvicha, slaughtering, you'll be chayev if you send a shliach to do it. So there's a special chiddush over here that there is a shliach l'dvar avera. So that's Rava's proof that you could chayev al yidei shliach. The Be'er Rabbi Shmuel Tana in the Bryce of Rabbi Shmuel it says tovchoi oi l'rabois is a shliach, to include a shliach that even if you did it by a shliach you'll be chayev, and you don't say ein shliach l'dvar avera. The Beichizkiah Tana in the Bryces of Beichizkiah it says tachas. We learn from the word tachas asher. Tachas aseh, the rabbi says shliach to include the shliach that you'll be chayev if you send the shliach to sell it or to slaughter it. Matke Flomar Zurtra asks him that Akasha Mazurtra mi kemide, is there anything the ilu ovid iu if he did it himself loy mechayev that he's not chayev because he'll have kovelim the rabbinay because it was on Shabbos and he'll be chayev misa. V'ovid shliach, and now they send a shliach to do it to mechayev and he will be chayev dalet v'hei. Doesn't make no sense. How could it be if I did it myself I'm potter, but if I send a shliach I'll be chayev? Amalei Ravashi says Ravashi Ateret also in this case the reason why you potter if he did it himself lamishum deloy mechayev, it's not because he didn't do a ma'isa that's mechayev dalet v'hei. Who elo the kovelim the rabbinay, you have a chiyuv of dalet v'hei, but you're potter because you also chayev misa. But it's not because it's a chayev dalet v'hei, just there's a ptur of kovelim the rabbinay, they did a bigger issa. So that's a teret on that kasha. When do we say that the svara of if I'll do it I'm potter and my shliach will be chayev doesn't make sense? That's when I do it I'm potter is because the ma'isa itself is not chiyuv, but here the ma'isa itself is a mechayev. Just because I did on Shabbos, you say kovelim the rabbinay. Ask the Gemara question: if it's talking about a shliach, my time the rabbanon the patri, why the rabbanon in the brayse say you potter? There's no chiyuv misa, there's no kovelim the rabbinay. Amri says the Gemara teretz man chachomim. Who are the chachomim in this brayse? Rab Shimon. It's Rab Shimon the Oma shchita she'ein ruya lo yishchot shmo shchita. Like we saw in the Mishnah Bayaz, that shchita that's not kosher, it's not called a shchita. Said the Gemara Amri, said the Gemara Kasha, Bishleim Avodah Zarah. We had three cases in the Mishnah. So we had Avodah Zarah where he shechted Avodah Zarah. V'shor and Iskal, that's also bano. Shchita she'ein ruya, because if you shecht animal of Avodah Zarah, you're not allowed to eat the meat, and Shor and Iskal is also bano, you're not allowed to eat the meat, so it's not shchita ruya, that's why you're potter. Elo Shabbos, if you shecht it on Shabbos elidei shliach, shchita ruya, you could eat the meat. The Tnan we learned in the Mishnah, shechet b'Shabbos Yom Kippurim, someone who slaughters an animal on Shabbos on Yom Kippur, afal pishem is chayav b'nafshe, even though there is chayav misa. For itzas neshama, shchitosoi kshera, his shchita is kshera, so why is it called shchita she'ein ruya? So the Gemara, Amri Sovalok Rabbi Yochanan Sadler, Reb Shimon over here holds like Rabbi Yochanan Sadler that shechting on Shabbos, the bossa is also bano or also ba'achila. Like we're going to see that this mission that we said Ashochet b'Shabbos v'Yom Kippurim, that the shchita shera, there's a machlokes about it. At Nan we learned in the Mishnah mevasher b'Shabbos, someone who cooks on Shabbos. B'shoigeg, if he never knew, let's say, Shabbos yoichal, he's allowed to eat it straight away. B'meizid lo yoichal, on if he did it specially and he knew Shabbos, he's not allowed to eat it. Divrei Rameh, that's Shittas Rameh. Rabbi Yehuda Oima, he argues, he says, B'shoigeg, if he did it by mistake, yoichal b'moitzi Shabbos, you're allowed to eat it, but only after Shabbos, you're not allowed to nene from it. B'meizid, if he knew Shabbos and did it intentionally, lo yoichal lo misi, he's never allowed to eat it. Rabbi Yochanan said, Loima, B'shoigeg, if he did it by mistake, ye'ochel b'moitzi Shabbos, it's allowed to be eaten by Rabbi Yochanan said, we say ye'ochel, not yoichal, ye'ochel, shall be eaten b'moitzi Shabbos, after Shabbos, but only to other people, not him, not the one who did the shchita. B'meizid, if he did it intentionally, it can't be eaten forever. Not him, and not other people, and therefore the Chachamim who are choilek on this price and say you potter hold like Rab Shimon that you need shchita ruya, and holds like Rabbi Yochanan Sandler that shchita on Shabbos b'meizid is also ilomis. Therefore, it's not called shchita ruya, and therefore you'll be potter. My time with Rabbi Yochanan Sandler, why are you not allowed to eat it forever? Like Rab Chia Darshan the pitcha on the entrance, the Beinesia. It says, V'shmartim es ha-Shabbos, keep Shabbos ki kodesh ilochem, because it's holy. Ma kodesh, like kodesh, means something that belongs to Beis Hamikdash. Also b'achila, you're not allowed to eat it. Af ma'aseh Shabbos asurim b'achila. Also, we learn kodesh, that also something that was done on Shabbos that you're not allowed to eat. Ima kodesh, if we're going to learn from kodesh, also ba'ano, you're also not allowed to have ano from it. Af ma'aseh Shabbos, also ba'ano, if you shecht on Shabbos or you cooked on Shabbos, you're not allowed to even give the food to dogs. It's also ba'ano b'chlal. Talmud loy malochem, it says also the pasuk of Shabbos to you, shalochem yehesh, it will be yours, just it will be like kodesh, so it means it will be like kodesh that's also b'achila, but it will be yours that you're allowed to have an offer from it. Yochol afilu b'shoigeg, l'chur, if we have this pasuk that anything that's done on Shabbos is kodesh, so what's the difference if you did it purposely or not purposely? Even b'shoigeg, it should be also b'ano, it should be like kodesh. Talmud loyma, it says in the pasuk, michalelea mois yumos, in the same pasuk it says the one who's Mechal Shabbos will be killed. Who is Chayav Misa on Shabbos? B'mezid Amarati Chasol, who does it purposely, v'loy b'shoigig, and if it's b'shoigig, it's not Chayav Misa, and therefore it's also not Kodesh, it's not Asa Be'achila. Says the Gemara, Pligi Bar Rav Acha Ravina, the machloikes between the two Amoraim, Rav Acha Ravina, about something on Shabbos is also about achila midiraisa midirabanon. Chadam amaisa Shabbos, if you cooked or shechted on Shabbos diraisa, it's also. With chadam amaisa Shabbos dirabanon, only midirabanon, it's also. But diraisa is no problem. Mando diraisa, the one who holds that's also bachila diraisa kedarmon, like we said, it said kodesh. Like kodesh is also amaisa Shabbos is also. Mando dirabanon, amar krok kodesh who kodesh. Shabbos itself is kodesh, ve'ein ma'itz of kodesh, but no what you did on Shabbos doesn't have it in kodesh, and it's not also be'achila. Says the Gemara, Bishleima lemandoma deraisa, very good. The mandoma holds that isa achila of something that was made on Shabbos is a isa deraisa amtul ochi. That's why ein aleph on base patra bonon in the brisa, because it's shchita shein ruya midiraisa ela lemandoma derabonon. It's only also be'achila my patra bonon. Why derabonon in the brisa say that it's potter lechora midiraisa? It's shchita ruya. So the Gemara ashara when Rabbanon say in the Mishnah Chachamim poetry, it doesn't mean on shchita b'Shabbos, and in Yom Kippur it means ashara. It means in the case where he avodah zarah v'shor niskal, the other two cases where he shechted avodah zarah or a ox that was meant to be killed. Okay, so now we understand the brisa over there. It's Rameh, and it's too much shchita lidei shliach, and Chachamim hu pata is Rab Shimon who hold that shchita she'ein ruya lav shmo shchita. Ask the Gemara, Rameh amay mechayev shoichet lavodah zarah. Why if someone steals an animal and slaughters it to idolatry, why is he chayev adalet vehei keven the shochat beipurta? Since he started cutting, he's already doing a maisa in the behemoth of avodah zarah. Ostra, it's already also bano because it's avodah zarah. Idoch, when he continues, isura nohu, it's already also bano. Veloy demorek tovach, it doesn't belong to the owner anymore because it has no value, and therefore it shouldn't be chayev dalet vehei. Omar Rava, says Rava Teretz, be'oime begmaz vichu oivdei. When he shechted it, he said, I want to be oived avodah zarah only in the gemar, the last part of the shchita, when it becomes kosher la'achila. So therefore, the beginning of the shchita doesn't come also in a bano, because he's not mechaven to be oived avodah zarah only in the last case, the last part. And in the last part, that's the second also, it becomes avodah zarah and is chayv misa. And also in that second, he's also mischayev dalet vehei for tovchoy, but he's not mischayev because komlei derabnei. Only if said the Gemara, sure niskal. I mean, he will be chayev because it's alidei shliach. Said the Gemara, sure niskal. Why are you chayev dalet vehei if he stole a shur that's meant to be killed? Isura no ninu, it's osabano shur that's going to be killed, and lav demora to kotovach. And since it's osabano, it doesn't have any value, and therefore it doesn't belong to the owner. So why should be chayav dalet vehei? Omar Rava, says Rava, I'm asking, he gave it, Reuven gave it to a shoyma. And the animal caused damage in the house of the shoyma. And were made in Beis Shomer, v'nigma dina b'Beis Shomer, and they paskined that this animal should be killed in the house of the Shomer. Now, for a Meir Sover like Rabbi Yaakov, he holds like a shitta of Rabbi Yaakov, a Svir like Rabbi Shimon, and he holds like Rabbi Shimon. And the Gemara is going to explain. Sover like Rabbi Yaakov, he holds like Rabbi Yaakov, the Oma, af mishnigma dinoi, even after it's also bano and they paskin that needs to be killed, this animal, lichzira shoyma lebailim, the shoyma who gave it back to the bailim, after the best in paskin that needs skila, muchza. It's called a good returning, and you could say, Reishel Cholef Fonecho. Meaning, if Reuven gave Shimon an animal and now he caused damage, he killed someone when he was in the house of Shimon, and now best in Paskin, this animal should be killed and it's also bano. Still, Shimon could give it back to Reuven and say, here, Reishel Cholef Fonecho, take your ox back, even though there has on it a dinner ready of skila. V'sova lo Rab Shimon, and he holds also Rab Shimon, the Oma Dova Goyim Lemomon, something that saves me for money, that causes money differences. Kimomon Domi, it has a value like money. Ditnan, we learned Rab Shimon Oima Kochim Shechai Barach Yuso, and if someone said Arei Olai Oilo, I shall bring a oilo, and he was makdish a korban, and now this korban is kodesh. It's not really his, but because if this korban gets lost, he'll be chayev, because he didn't say this will be a korban. He said, I will bring a korban. That's called his chayev by chariyus. So in chayev, if you steal from him, you have to pay kefil, even though that doesn't really belong to him, it belongs to Beis HaMikdash, because if now I don't have this behemoth, I have to bring another behemoth. It's called dova agorim l'momon, something that could cause me to pay money. It's like momon, and therefore you have to pay kefil on it. Alma, we could see dova agorim l'momon k'momon domi. So we're saying, what's pshat over here? Why Yechayev by Shora Niskal, even though that's a Surah? No, it's talking about a very specific case. It's talking about where Reuven gave it to Shimon, and then it was Chayev Skila by Shimon, and then someone, Levi, stole it from Shimon, and now by Levi stealing it from Shimon, Shimon can't say to the Bainim, Arei Shel Cholef Onecho, because like Rabbi Yaakov says that you could say Arei Shel Cholef Onecho because it's not by him, and Dovar Goyim L'Momen, because now Shimon will have to pay his own behemoths, Kimomen Domi, and therefore Levi needs to pay Kefel and Dalet Vehei. Says the Gemara, Omar Rav Kahana, Amrisa Leshmaitza, I said this Sugya Kameder Rav Zvid, in front of Rav Zvid min Narador, who comes from the place called Narador. And he asked me, Motus Mukmis Mastis in Karamea, can you explain our Mishnah over here in Bobby Kama like Karamea, Veloik Rab Shimon? And it's not like Rab Shimon, and it's only like Ramea who holds the Ein Eloike U'Mishalem on Yom Kippur, and that's why Yechayev if you shecht on Yom Kippur. V'oktoni Sefer, it says in the Sefer of the Mishnah, Rab Shimon Poita B'Shnei Elu. At the end of the Mishnah it says Rab Shimon patters in these two, in the case where it's Shchita Shein Ruya, Michlal, we could see from there, the Bekulo Masnisin, in the whole Mishnah, Moida. He does agree to all the dinim of the Mishnah, and one of the dinim in the Mishnah is that someone who stole and shechted on Yom Kippur, Yechayev, but Rab Shimon doesn't agree that Loike U'Mishalem, he holds Ein Loike U'Mishalem. So how could he say our Mishnahs are Meah? Omalei, and not Rab Shimon, Omalei Loi. No, when it says Rab Shimon argues in the last two, it doesn't mean that he agrees on the whole Mishnah. No, Michlal de Moide B'Tovach U'Mochal U'Rofrov Klovim. It's only going in the Sefer of the Mishnah where someone, there was a few cases, someone who stole and slaughtered for medicine or to feed the dogs, and then there was another two cases where it's Chulim Ba'azora, and another case where it's also where it's not Shchita Ruya, where it became a treifa. There Rab Shimon argues, but he's moida in the other two cases of someone who shechted it to refer klovim, that because it's, even though they didn't do it for eating, but it's roy to eat, so therefore he agrees that Yechayev Dalet Vehei. But on the first case of the Mishnah, where it says that Shoichet in Yom Kippur Yechayev, Rab Shimon doesn't agree, because Rab Shimon holds En Loike U'Mishalem. Okay, next part of the Mishnah. Gonav Mishel Ovi V'Tovach U'Mochar. Someone stole from his father and he slaughtered or sold it, and then his father died. It says he has to pay Dalet Vehei. Boy, mine Rav Nachman. Rav asked Rav Nachman a shaila. What's the din? Gonav shoyshe shnitful shutfim. Reuven stole an ox that belongs to Shimon and Levi. B'tovcha, and he slaughtered it. So Lechernai has to pay Dalet Vehei to Reuven and Shimon. Sorry, to Reuven, to Shimon and Levi. But what happened was, before Edom came, And he was moid, Reuven was moid that he did it to Shimon. So to Shimon he only has to pay the capital, he doesn't have to pay kefel and dalet vehei. Now, what the din? Chamisha boker omer rachmona. We tell in the pasuk they have to pay 5 boker v'loy chamisha chatzoi boker, and not 5 halves. And in this case, since he's potter to Shimon, he'll also be potter to Levi, because the Torah says chamisha boker, not 5 halves. Or dilma chamisha boker omer rachmona, that when the Torah says chamisha boker, v'afilu chamisha chatzoi boker. In the case of shutfim, you have to pay 5 halves if you're moided to one of them. It doesn't mean chamisha boker, not halves. Malay, he told him, Chamisha Bokar, yeah, it means specifically 5 Bokar, Marachmana, below Chamisha Chatzei Bokar, but you won't have to pay Chamisha Chatzei Bokar. And therefore he'll be potter to pay both of them, one because he's moida, and the other one because he only has to pay half, and you don't pay half. ACV, he asked him a shaila. It said in the Mishnah, what we just learned, Gona Mishalovi, if he stole from his father, and he slaughtered or sold it, and then his father died. So now he's a Yerush, so part of the payment goes to him. It still says Mishalim Tashlum Abba v'chamisha v'ha'ach. In this case, came in the Mesa Aviv Kimoshi Kodem Voide La'achir Mehen Domi. It's like he's moida because to himself, let's say he has one other brother, so to himself he doesn't need to pay. V'ktoni Mishalim Tashlum Abba v'chamisha, but he still say that you have to pay the other brother Tashlum Abba v'chamisha, and it's only half. Tashlum Abba v'chamisha. So you could see your din that you said that chamisha boker v'loy chamisha chatzei boker is not correct. Malay, he told him, and here we're talking about Kigoin Sha'omad Bedin, Sha'omad Ovid Bedin, that before his father died, he sued his son, and Bezdin paskined that he needs to pay. So therefore he needs to pay already his father the full amount. Now his father died, so okay, he's Yerush half the payment, but he still has to pay his brother half payment, because B'shas Amod Bedin, it was Chamisha Bokar Shleimim. Asked the Gemara, Bedin, but if his father didn't take him to Bezdin before he died, what's the din? He won't pay Abba v'chamisha because we say Abba v'chamisha lo chatzoi Abba v'chamisha. If so, Adaton is safe. In the next Mishnah it says, Gona mishel aviv umeis. He stole from his father and then his father died. After his father died, he slaughtered or sold. It doesn't have to pay 4 and 5. Why do we need to come and say a difference between his father died before the slaughtering or afterwards? Nifloik bedidei, we should say a chilik in the same case we said in the Reisha. B'medvor mamorim, when do you need to pay in the Reisha? K'sha'omad bedin, when the father took him to Bezdin before he died. Avaloyomad bedin, if the father didn't take him to Bezdin before he died, you don't need to pay Abba v'chamisha because chamisha bokar v'loy chamisha chatzoi bokar. Omalei ochinami. Really, you could have said this chilik in the Seifa and say that it's a difference between the Amod Bedin if the father took him to Bezdin before he died or not. But I did enough Reisha. Since in the Reisha we said Gonav Misheloviv v'tovach u'mochar v'achakach meis oviv. Therefore, Nosif Seifa Nami Gona Mishalov V'Meisov V'Achak Tovach U'Mochar. He also wanted to say in the Seifa a similar case and just be mechalek between when the father died. And we didn't want to, because in the ratio we never spoke about the Ma'od Bedin, even though that's obvious, so we didn't want to make such a chilik. It was more simpler just to make a chilik when the father died, before the Tvicha Mechira or afterwards. Letzafra in the morning. So what happened over here? Rava asked Rav Nachman the Shaila, and in the next morning, Omalei Chamisha Bokar Rachmana v'afilu Chamisha Chatzei Bokar. I changed my mind. I told you yesterday that you can't pay Chamisha Chatzei Bokar. I changed my mind. No, Chamisha Bokar Rachmana and afilu Chamisha Chatzei Bokar. If you stole from 2 shutfim and you're moida to one of them, you still have to pay the other shutuf half of the Abra v'Chamisha. Not like what I told you yesterday. And the reason why I didn't tell you this in the evening, Tosis explains because he was in a tanis, and it means I didn't eat meat literally. Rashi learns, it means I didn't go deep into the sugya and understand it really, but really now I changed my mind, and really you need to pay half of Chamisha, and you pay the shut of half what he gets, and you don't say Chamisha Bokar v'loy Chamisha Chatzei Bokar. Ask the Gemara, Maishno Reisha, Maishno Seifa. Now, Lefi, what you're telling me, it's talking about the Reisha, where his father died after Tvicha, you have to pay. And it's not Omar Omad Bedin, because you don't need to come onto that teretz, because afilu chamisha chatzei boker. That's why the son needs to pay his brother half, because there's no problem of paying half. So it's not talking about Omad Bedin. So why in the Sefer where his father died afterwards, l'chora, before the Tvicha, why would he be potter? If you chayiv chamisha chatzei boker, you should be chayiv. Now, very good, he's Yurish, his part, and half this animal is his, but it's still half his brother. So now when he's slaughtered, he should pay Dalet Vehet, his brother half. Amalei Reisha Karina Bevitovchoy Kula Beisura. In the Reisha where his father's still alive when he did the slaughtering, it's Vitovchoy, he did the full Tvicha, it's Kula Beisura because it all belongs to his father. Sefer, where his father died before the Shechita, Loi Karina Bevitovchoy Kula Beisura, because he owns half the Behema, so it's not Kula Beisura, half is Beisura and half is not Beisura, and therefore we learn from the Tovchei needs Kulu Beisura. Very good, you could pay half, but that's only if you did the Tovchei Kulu Beisura, and here the not the Tovchei is not Kulu Beisura. So that's the Teret, and that's how we learn Pshat in the Mishnah. Thank you very much.